Well, these days, talking politics can end a friendship, relationship, and even your employment in some cases. So what can employers do to keep the work environment from getting politically toxic? Fox 44's Brian Glenn asked an expert.
Joel Patterson joining us. He is a workplace culture expert. First question to you, my friend. This is a very heated election year, and I can imagine the conversations in the workplace can heat up as well. As an employer, how do you control the political chat that might be going on in your workplace?
Well, it's an interesting question, and you're absolutely correct about the fact that there's a lot of volatility around it these days. And matter of fact, there was a survey that came out today from the Cato Institute that said that the majority of Americans won't talk about politics at work. But the interesting and kind of troubling thing is that a pretty sizable number of people feel like it's okay to fire people based on their political views, and in particular, younger people feel that way, and that is a little bit troubling, and I think something that needs to be addressed. But as far as how an organization controls what their people do or don't post or say around politics, I think that really comes down to an individual situation for the company. You got to make sure diversity is good, right? We know that. You want differences of thought that creates successful business, but you want to make sure that as people are having some of these conversations that might be a little bit of a start something up a little bit, you want to make sure that they have the right intent. Are they doing it because they want to have a conversation? That's okay. But if they're doing it to get under somebody's skin, or if they're doing it to create controversy, that's not okay. That turns into something that's more almost discrimination or bullying.
Turn our attention over to social media. How can employers tactfully tell their employees maybe to tone down their political views on social media, especially if they're some type of spokesperson or the face of their company? How do you address that?
It's the same kind of concept. You're not going to be able to address every single situation. Like if you don't want them to talk about Trump, that's one thing. But you can control that if it's a spokesperson a little bit more than you can if it's just the general audience in your organization. And so it has to get back to whether or not they're being respectful, recognizing that other people have different perspectives on it, and making sure that they're thinking through how this might impact somebody else. And the only way to do that these days is with a culture that supports your core values and making sure that your core values are included within that concept.
Joel Patterson, we appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Brian.